Mr. Amir, now welcome to Sri Lanka.
Thank you very much.
For taking over the arduous task of shaping Sri Lankan sports. And could you be kind enough to give your background, how about how you became what you are today?
Actually, it's not just for a couple of minutes, but I will try to be concise and short, as always in football supposed to be. I'm 52 years in football involved as a coach and a player. My playing background coming from the early age, say 80s and up to mid-90s. I played professional football in former Yugoslavia, in Germany, and finished my career in Australia. As a coach, I started to coach in 1996, and then all the way to Sri Lanka. And basically, Sri Lanka is my 17th country in my coaching career, spanning on 5 continents. So it's a vast of international experience. Also, I'm educated coach. I have 4 coaching certificates. The highest one is the UEFA Pro license. Then I have a Pro license from Bosnia. I have an A license from Australia and A license from Germany. So as you can see, also I'm a marketing economist graduate. So it's a total intellectual background, a part of my football background. So actually today you really have to be very, very intellectual, very smart as a coach, because you have to decide in a split second, not just on the field, then off the field. So it's a lot of at stake as a coach, and that kind of experience, working in different environments, different countries, give me a lot of self-confidence first, and also the overview of the situation in different countries, that you have to start to be leader at the first stage. Wherever you come from, the very first moment, you have to be the leader. So it's no difference in Sri Lanka. And that's pretty much about my background. I can tell you that the highlights of my career, for example, are being a winner and a cup winner and the champion in Brunei Darussalam. I was assistant coach at Werder Bremen in Bundesliga. Also, that national team is my 3rd national team in my career. Sri Lanka, I coached the U19 Bosnian national team and the Brunei national team. So, from many aspects, I might say that I'm pretty successful coach, because we always judge and base on our CV. Anything else is just a waste of time. So if you can see my CV, obviously that's the reason why the board of the Football Federation in Sri Lanka picked me up as the first choice among several other candidates.
Yeah. Now, coming here to a country where football is struggling, what are your impressions that you have about the current situation?
Actually, I came mid-February, but you see, because of this corona issue, I cannot say that I'm working 5 months, obviously. But pretty enough time, say roughly 3 months, I had the chance to be alive, having trainings, interacting with the federation. Can say that as a football fan, pretty sad that Sri Lanka football is in such a bad shape right now, and actually is really almost the bottom, considering the rest of the world. So impressions are that I see that is a huge amount of fans, a huge amount of the people who are potential followers of the football in Sri Lanka, people who really like football, enjoy the football. Many of them are interacting with me on the social media, and I see from their perspective that they are really keen that have a proper football system in this country, that they can cheer around after so many years of nothing, basically. That's our first impressions, And the second, then I always, as a football coach and the technical director of Football Federation, now trying to figure out how we can put this system up. Obviously, in short term is not possible, but proper plan, organization, officials to execute, investment might yield that we, I'm in an Olympic house, so in an Olympic cycle of 4 years, we can do something, and then start revitalizing the football in this country. And it's not just about football itself, it's also about employment, about revenue, about the state economy. But what I'm saying about this, is not just about me. One person cannot make any miracle. This is all about state project. If Sri Lanka wants football to rise up, the whole state must jump on. Not me, not football fans, not federation, it's not enough today, because the other countries are quite advanced and they have an investment in place. So this is actually the roadmap in the next couple of years, how we can wrap up a whole system and fix the shortcomings and bring the football up.
Yeah, now Sri Lanka, I think they are the 5th from the bottom.
True.
So how do you propose to, how are you going to lift that status up? And
obviously we cannot just rely on the national team. Reality is that our national team is not competitive right now, not even in the South Asia, sorry. So when you see from my perspective, expectation of the fans and media, obviously that something comes over the night. No miracle in football. No miracle in football. You see that the best possible example is German national team. They were, as you know, in Brazil, they were 6 years ago, they were the champions. 4 years later, such a hard system with 5,000 employees only at the headquarters of the German Federation was a total failure in Russia, not even crossing the first time in the history group stage. Never happened before. What does it mean? Any time, any federation coming in the state of the comfort zone, obviously you go down. This is a free fall. This is what happened Sri Lanka. Everybody say we didn't do anything. Yes, you done something. But obviously the other countries advanced, they had a proper place, they had a proper system, organization. You see just the neighboring countries like India, like Bangladesh, like Maldives, they're quite a way in front of us, 3 to 5 years. Why? Because there is, as I said, in football we recognize first ring is a football system, second ring is a supporting system. So when you analyze all these two systems, we don't have. How we know we don't have? You need a league, you need a coaching education, you need a professional system. We don't have. Professional, why? Because we are playing obviously FIFA level. What is FIFA level today than pure professional football? And that's number one. Number two is actually when you see a grassroots program, when you see all these issues, all different stakeholders like sports ministry, like education ministry involved to help, but no proper system, no organization. In that way, I organize some files like a national curriculum, how we are going to play football in this country. It is like a Sinhala language, Everybody understands this country because it's obviously official language. At the Football Federation, we don't have an official language. We have 67 leagues, we have so many academies, we have so many schools, everybody plays differently. When those kids become older, coming to the national team, they are totally confused. They have no idea because, obviously, nobody touched the bottom line, which is skills and sport attributes. We are not teaching just skills. I'm always saying, if you want to be a successful player, you have to be gentleman in boots. We don't have that mentality, and we lost that football professional culture in this country. So that's obstacles that I face right now. So actually, I'm still not doing my job, to be honest with you. I'm trying to fix up the problems. I'm trying to fix up the shortcomings. Only fixing them, you can do something. Like sick person, you cannot say go run. You have to give him a medicine. After some recovery, then you have to work with him. Then he makes performance in any capacity of our life. Same is with football. So right now, I brought the papers as a technical director. I know shortcomings. I made the action plan for next 4 years. I made a master plan for next 4 years. Made a national curriculum, how we are going to play the football. This is actually Sinhala language, translated in football language, that everybody knows how to play. The new system, for example, is 4-3-3, and then all people, starting from grassroots all the way to the senior level, they will easily perform at the national level because they know, they are taught to be professional players and they understand one football language. Right now is not the case. Also, we need a much better qualified officials at the federation. That's quite normal. So basically what I need to do in the next 4 years, if all system allows me, to put a proper way into the professional football. That's the only way how federation can survive. And also finance-wise, all federation, now members of the FIFA, in next 4 years must transform them not into federation. That's not enough anymore. Must be sort of bank. Only if they start to be a bank, that the all in football today is money, then we have a chance in Sri Lanka something to do. But there is a potential, definitely. We have 22 million people. We have potentially 2 million kids to play football, girls and boys. Also, I'm trying to put up the women's system. You have a fantastic weather here. You have a lot of investors here. You have a lot of fans here. We have a so big community about Sri Lankan living overseas. So actually you have really something to cheer around to say, listen, if you say, for instance, don't take wrong, if you compare Maldives, what they can offer, but they are in front of us. So it's not normal. And simply myself, being now Sri Lankan, okay, I'm a bit ashamed about all this situation because I'm purely in my nature, I'm a winner, you know. I see now the losing situation in this country about football, and I want to change that.
Yeah, now how do you propose to convert Sri Lankan football from this present status to at least to play competitively with countries like Bangladesh, Pakistan, and yeah.
There are three ways in that way, clearly defined by myself. Short term, we are talking about national team, we are talking about grassroots, we are talking about coaching education and youth development system. All these four stages must be lifted up in the proper way. That's a short term. Short term, when we are talking about national team, is bringing overseas players of Sri Lankan origin who are actually our kids but born in other countries. They are born by parents who are Sri Lankan. So doing that, we right now have 12 people who we can bring to play for Sri Lanka under Sri Lanka flag, from Germany, from Australia, from UK, from Italy, from Switzerland, who are Sri Lankan, as I said, but much more educated because they are playing football in Europe. So when they bring them over here, our national team totally will be different story. We will be quite competitive. Right now, our local players need a lot of time, at least 3-4 years, honestly, to understand all this system, because basically they are the victims of the bad system, nothing else. You know, so whatever I said is not about critics, not at least, because you know we don't have anything about critics. I'm talking about reality. So when you want to fix the problems, you have to know the reality, from where you will start. So what I'm saying you, in short term, we need the overseas players to strengthen our national team, to go up in the FIFA ranking. Going up in the FIFA ranking means also the revenue. So the ultimate goal is to be under 150 place in the FIFA ranking, which you attract the sponsor investors. We will soon, maybe late this year, kick off our Super League. Our Super League is weak, so supposed to be sustainable professional league. How to do it? With the foreign investors. How will you bring and attract the foreign investors? You have to offer them something. Right now we don't have. So we are talking about the president, myself, general secretary, how we can wrap up that, you know, that we have a sustainable professional league. Once we have a league, and this is advantage of other neighboring countries comparing Sri Lanka. We don't have a league, and that's a whole problem, especially for me as a national coach. You don't have a scouting system how to select the players. You don't know how they play because they have a couple of matches this year only. It's absolutely out of mind, and you go to play the FIFA games. So that's why you see that a lot of things to be corrected here, bringing the standards of world football, okay? And in midterm, we need the coaching education. We are dreaming if you think about players and not having a proper coaches. When we will have a proper coaching system, once when our coaches are able to work overseas, which means that they are quality enough to produce the local raised national players. Right now is not the case. Our coaches have licenses, some of them 30 years ago. 30 years and today are two worlds about football. Today you play in 3-4 seconds to make a chance. You play with one touch. We don't have infrastructure, as you know, even don't have a national stadium. So basically wherever you go should be something to correct it. Unfortunately, many shortcomings have accumulated over the 20 last years. So now is an awfully hard job for me to go forward actually almost alone. No, I cannot be alone. As I said, if this country wants football to go up, if this country wants that football is again one of the main sport forces in this country, that means economy, that means employment, that means attraction of the tourists, everybody. I just explained, you know, recently had some interview about Croatia. It's a population 4.5 million. They are second place in FIFA and silver medalist from the last World Cup in Russia, right? Can you imagine? 5 times less than Sri Lanka, 3 times less living space than Sri Lanka. They are world class. How? Organization, program, officials, executions, DNA, and sponsors. This is the way how we can start. Simply paste and copy of those who are the best and the most advanced.
So, if your program works, say at least 75%, where do you see our football will be in the next 3 years?
I will be very short. In next 2 years, this year and next year, is just fixing the shortcomings. Nothing else cannot be done, especially that we are facing so harsh situation about Corona time. Honestly, we never know what will happen tomorrow. And right now we have a training pool about national team. God knows what will happen tomorrow. Maybe it's spreading, maybe curfew, maybe this and that. That's reality. So any it happens, we all again go down, because players, must train to maintain fitness and going up. Right now is some positive signs that we are improving. Not too much, but at least we stopped free fall of the players. But the problem is, this situation. And don't forget, even if we are sitting at home, the other countries sitting at home, they are much more advanced. So can you imagine, for instance, that we sit South Korea, but they are quite more advanced. Their team costs over 300 million euros. Our team is 300,000. So in the next 2 years, my job is heavily and aggressively to fix the problems about football. If it's possible, I'm telling you, it's not up to me. I have a desire. I have so much energy. I made in 3 months more than happened in the last 10 years. But I'm telling you, this must be a state project. Why? Because we need the kids. Kids are not just a concern of the Football Federation. Kids are concerned about sports ministry, education ministry, that everybody like in China who wants to play to football, give them a chance. From the basis, then you easily can have a quality. In Europe, we say 1 out of 3,000 kids become professional player. Europe, it's top of the world. Can you imagine how it's a harsh job? What will happen here? You have one Sujan out of 10,000 kids. Why? Because you don't have a proper system. And that's all about. So in next 2 years is fixing shortcomings, organizing, teaching officials to be up to the level, teaching the clubs to be up to the level, okay? Then in next 2 years is stabilization. Still not improvement. Beyond 4 years, I'm expecting, if everything goes smoothly and an optimal level, then beyond 4 years, obviously we will go up. We will have a new generation already at the working force, like coaches, like players, like fans as well. They need to be educated. Media must be educated as well. As I'm telling you, missing a professional football culture. With all these stakeholders going up for the sake of the football, then obviously we are on the right way. And that's the only chance about recovery of football in this country. Anything else is just dreaming, is just wasting a time, and even worse, because this system really can totally collapse.
Yeah, finally, my final question is, have you ever pondered about the Sri Lankan women's football, and where is it perched, and what are your plans for it?
Good question. Thank you very much, honestly, for that question. When I came to Sri Lanka as a head coach, after a while, the board and the president offered me to be technical director. As a technical director, you have to wrap up everything what is concern of the Football Federation. I want to improve and to establish beach football. Great country, sun, everything. Now they have World Cups. So if you have a beach football in this country, you will have definitely revenue. More tourists will come because it's so popular, so attractive sport today. Just go to Portugal, just go to Spain, Brazil. They recognize that. So most of these countries, like Sri Lanka, having a bless from the God that we have such a nice weather here, must have a proper beach football. That's number one. Number two is a grassroots football. as I said, we have a potential 2 to 3 million kids playing football, both genders, boys and girls. I used to be heavily involved in US soccer. Now these girls are one of the best nations in a female competition in the world. So the same is over here. We have many girls who want to play football in this country, but simply you don't have a system for that. Now, recently I organized the national team. Then we will organize the coordinating system from the grassroots up to the senior level, for the girls only. We'll go to the schools, see how we can manage to come to the common terms. And that will be a roadmap for the women football in this country, because half of the country is women. And don't forget, from next year, FIFA said that they will 40% increase the revenue and the fund for the women football. So it's a good chance. As you see from my perspective as a technical director, first, our national team, men national team, really need 4 to 6 years to be start competitive, to win something in South Asia. That's reality. About women football, that roadmap and that time is double less because they don't have such a harsh competition in this area. You understand? So I'm heavily counting on the women football, because what is wrong and what is bad and whatever it is, that tomorrow our national team maybe will be the champions of Asia. Of course, that whole country will be happy, right? So for me as a technical director, no difference between men and women competition, and I'm heavily now involved organizing all the things, and pretty much sure that we will have at least one tournament to the rest of the year about female competition, okay? And then next year we are facing the soft games and this and that, so we'll give our girls chance to go there. So funds will be given also from, if we have a proper system, then the FIFA will also help us out. On the long term, we want to have a professional league here, okay, that we attract also some international tournaments. And simply Sri Lanka football is not just about fixing the problems, must be on the map of the world. I propose to President and other officials that we have at least one youth tournament traditionally held in Sri Lanka, plus one women football, also plus some seminars for the coaches, this and that we attract the people, that people start coming here. Once outside people, foreign people start coming, sharing their ideas in Sri Lanka, then we will change a whole this map about mentality in Sri Lanka. Right now you have a mentality about football like 30 years ago. You don't have a world standards in Sri Lanka about thinking about all this situation. That's a reality, unfortunately. So that's why we are simply somehow in a mud that we cannot go out. This is my observation as a top professional coming from Europe, you know, from the top of the world regarding football. So all this situation must be changed. Relying just on me, nobody's magician. You can bring Mourinho here, you know, that nothing extraordinary will be changed if the whole system hasn't been changed. That's my message to not only football fans, to everybody who wants to see good football here and also to benefit from the football. Anything else, honestly, is just the wrong way, and simply we cannot do anything.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.